How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going pretty well. Uh, I'm not 100% sure I caught the click right because your voice lagged out. The issue that I'm having at the moment is I forget if I've said on the podcast. Did I say on the podcast that I've got the 5G home internet that I'm testing out? Because
I think you did. Awesome downloads,
it's
not so great
it's
uploads.
for us. Yeah, exactly. And it is frustratingly inconsistent.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
come on, Elon Musk. I want to try Starlink. I logged in to check on my order just last week, I think, and it still says we will be delivering in your area before the end of 2021. So I'm like, well, you have 2 months and 2 weeks ish. So
Okay.
we'll see. Not a man/company well known for keeping deadlines, though. So, how was your weekend?
So I don't remember if I had mentioned we had gone to lunch with a bunch of friends, from work who have since scattered to other companies a month or so ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them had mentioned how they got into knife sharpening, and they had researched these perfectly awesome sharpening stones, and it's been kind of on my to-do list to sharpen. Anyways, serendipitous conversation.
Okay.
So I asked him, well, tell me what you ordered. And because he had ordered these special stones, which were not cheap, and he had 3D printed, he had created 3D models to mount them and hold them, and then allow, guides so you get the right 20 degree, 17 degree, 14 degree angle, depending on the type of knife, et cetera, right? Till you can get good at doing it by hand, guides. Anyways, so I 3D printed all these things, and I had ordered the stones, the sharpening stones, and they got stuck in FedEx Groundhog Day.
Oh, right. This is the thing you tweeted.
Yes. And every day it would say, arrived in Portland. And then it would say, arrived in Portland, like at 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day for like a week and a half. And so I emailed the company and I said, hey, I know it's not your fault, because I had called FedEx, and FedEx said, we have a massive backlog in Portland. It's on the truck. That's why it keeps getting recycled, because it's on a truck, and daily the truck gets scanned if it hasn't been emptied yet. So he said, they were like, we'll get to it when we get to it. I'm like, fine, whatever.
Like a
but I called the
driver
company
shortage?
as well and said, yeah, something. I said, hey, I know it's not your fault, but I ordered these and I don't know if they're lost or if they're really ever going to show up. And they said, well, do you want us to overnight you one another one? I said, no, because this was before I went to see daughter number 2 at her concert.
So quite a while ago.
This has been since September. This has been a month. Well, over the weekend, not at my request, the knife sharpening company sent FedEx overnighted me another box set.
Oh.
And then emailed me and said, if the other one shows up, just, write refused on it and return it. But, no one knows. It stopped getting recycled. FedEx stopped reporting it as, still in Portland. It just kind of disappeared. So I assumed it was lost. Well, no.
Oh, they showed up?
Yes. So the overnight ones showed up on, I think, Saturday, and Monday, the ones that were ordered back in September showed up.
Eddie Murray exits the day.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. So I emailed the company back and said, all right, so what do I got to do? And I had to go take them to, so my lunch break today was taking the box of stones back to a FedEx office, sending it off, and saying refused. And the FedEx office was by Panda Express, so I had Panda Express for lunch.
Okay, nice. I don't know why I didn't. It's Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
It is Bill Murray.
I think I said Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
Anyway, and then I'm like, that is not
Bill Murray, Eddie
Bill
Murphy.
Murray.
It's almost the same
They're
person.
they're yeah, not the same at all. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, speaking of movies,
oh
I
yeah,
also went and saw No Time to Die, the new James Bond movie, which I purposely hadn't read or heard much about. I tried to avoid because I wanted to see it. Went to a movie theater, did a 5 p.m., right after work with a buddy who lives around the corner. He's working from home too. So we zoomed over at 5 o'clock to the movie theater just around the corner here. It was us and one other couple in the entire movie theater. So
that's okay.
Awesome. And I want other people to see it because I need to talk to them about the spoilers.
Okay, I will probably see it this weekend. Although I like neither my wife nor my kids have seen the others. So I have.
There is some. I don't think it's required to have seen the others, but it definitely will connect dots that you may not understand if you haven't seen the others.
Okay.
It references most. I need to stop talking.
Okay. Yeah. No spoilers.
Anyways, it was really good.
No spoilers.
I mean, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So with the previews, you're in there for 3 hours.
You got your money's worth.
And it was long. And occasionally I was like, yeah, they could have cut that. They could have trimmed the movie down more, but it did a really good job at setting up the future of 007 movies. And that's as much as I'll give you as a spoiler.
All right.
So
anyways. Okay. I want to see it. I will see it in the theaters probably this weekend, I think. We'll have to see. I'll try and make a point. I took my boys to go see Venom on Friday night, which was, I don't know if you saw the first Venom, which was good. I did see the
first one. Was it better, worse, or kind of same as the first one?
Maybe a little worse.
Okay. But not as good.
Yeah, no. Because the first one, I feel like they had a lot more story or character development. Let's say, even if the character's symbiote. But
you're right.
Anyway, I'm easily amused, and I'm not a harsh critic when it comes to movies. Like I want to go in. I will say I had a free popcorn that I saved because I was like, I'm gonna probably go see the James Bond movie. I'll save my free popcorn for the James Bond movie.
Well, you'll have 3 hours to eat it.
Yeah. But anyway, that was Friday night. That was fun. That was cool.
Well, I am also looking forward to Dune, which comes out tomorrow. So.
Oh no.
Maybe that's what you'll see instead.
Well, my older boy read the book in preparation for the movie. The younger one was listening to it, but I don't think he finished it. I'll have to check in with him. But I very, very much want to see that movie.
So it's one of those on HBO Max and in the theaters at the same time.
Okay. Kind
of deals. And I think I will probably watch it. That's probably will be my tomorrow night. If I can find a few hours tomorrow evening. So I'm looking forward to that one too. So, spoiler alert, I may talk about that next week.
Okay. We'll pretend to have a spoiler horn or something like that. You have read the book, though.
Yeah. Well, a long time ago. And I debated, should I reread it? Because I think I read it in college, which I'm old. So that was a long time ago.
You're not very old. not in comparison. It seems younger and younger every day. Okay. I did reread it. Well, I listened to the audiobook like within the last year. So I have relatively recently refreshed my memory on it. So anyway,
Okay.
we'll see. That will be good. Well, the thing I was going to say about this weekend was I tweeted a picture
Ouch.
of
It did not look
of
pleasant.
my eye. Yeah. So because
Or lack thereof.
Saturday I think we were mostly just choring, mowed. I tidied up around the place a little bit, just kind of, doing a few puttering probably. But I was on the tractor mowing, and I was mowing past my beehives, just the back of them. But as I was, I'm approaching them, and I'm like, those bees are pretty active. I'm kind of surprised. It was afternoon. It was pretty warm. It was not. It was a nice day, and I'm like, oh, those bees are pretty active, huh? And then as I got closer, like as I'm passing them, they started to dive bomb me, and I was really surprised that I pulled them over, because I've mowed past in summer, the summer many times, and they're busy, but they're busy collecting nectar, and I think that there's nothing out there for them to actually do. Anyway, they were not happy.
You look like a really big flower.
And one of them stung me right on the side of my forehead, but kind of right above my eyebrow.
Ouch.
And which was like, at the time I was like, oh, I got stung, okay. And then, but it's the first time I've ever been stung on my face. And I don't know if I react more than most people, but I definitely react to bee stings. And Saturday night, my face swole up so bad. And then like Sunday morning, when I took that picture, I took a picture and was like, hey, I got stung by a bee. And my eye I could, technically, I felt like I could open my eye, because I'm like, I could kind of get some light in there, but yeah, it was going down a tunnel and it was not good. But I had taken a Benadryl Saturday night trying to kind of get ahead of it, but man, that stuff just puts me to sleep. And I took another one Sunday morning, and I just wound up sleeping all Sunday morning. Woke back up at like noon, and we had symphony tickets. So I went to the symphony with my eye like just looking like I got punched in the face.
Something you listened to, and it wasn't a movie.
That's very true.
So you didn't need depth perception.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So it was funny. So that was my big weekend. I pretty much got a lot of stuff done Saturday, and then did not do anything productive wise. Going to the symphony was great, but anyway.
Well, I'll segue into, speaking of tractors.
Oh, yes. Very nice. Very nice. Well played.
So we've talked about open John Deere tractors and tractors that have software, and farmers not being able to, the right to repair topics. Well, I don't even remember how I stumbled across this. I stumbled across a website that basically has all the plans, and they call it an open source tractor. So they've published all the plans, all, the parts and everything for this tractor. They're on version 6 of the tractor, with the power unit, the wheels, and, it works with a Bobcat standard quick attach. So it's a tractor that, if you so choose, you can build it yourself, and it comes apart. And anyways, I thought of you and our right to repair conversations when I stumbled across this, and so I threw it in here to follow up, even though it's kind of almost something funnish. But
this is totally cool.
I thought it was fun.
What is a power cube?
Well, the power cube is the thing that powers the tractor, and you can have up to 4 of them.
I see that in the text. Sorry, I'm reading. I'm looking at the picture is awesome. This is totally cool. It's totally cool.
It's like a
It's an erector set.
I was just gonna say that it's like a full size real life erector set. Exactly.
Oh, that's
good
cool.
fun.
Okay,
Good fun.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'll have to read a little bit more about that.
All right. I don't have a nice segue into my articles.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Here, I'll give us one. Hey, Eric, what'd you bring me to talk about tonight?
So I have two. One I just stumbled across, which I thought was interesting way to phrase it, because it's, if you have your phone and it does biometric authentication, and if you use Touch ID, you can have multiple fingers for Touch ID. For Face ID, if you have iPhones, you can have multiple faces, and it's drop dead easy to set up. I do this with my my wife's face can open my phone, and I can open her phone. We just put each other's stuff so that if we ever need each other's things. And my kids, my thumbprint when they were younger and had their first hand-me-down phones, I always put my thumbprint on there in case they lost something, messed it up. Tried to keep passwords and everything. So, but this one takes a slightly different tact. Hey, do you loan your phone to people? Or, do you have, if you're a parent with maybe troublesome kids, have they snuck their face or their thumbprint onto your phone so they can sneak in and get your whatever they need on your phone, maybe like the PIN code to Netflix or whatever the case may be. So this article just kind of shows you, hey, here's where you can go to check and see if there are any things in your phone like the Face ID or the Touch ID, thumbprint stuff, fingerprint stuff that you may have in there that you weren't aware of.
That's a good point.
Thought, something to go check out. It's one of those things where I'm like, I should probably ask my girls, who are both in college now. Do they loan their? I know one for sure probably loans her phone to whomever wants it. If they need to use it. I'm like, hey, you should probably just check that. Just in case. Right? So anyway, so that's article number one, short and sweet. The second one is a Krebs on Security article about Coinbase phishing. So another approach at stealing one-time passwords. Right? So it's kind of how you would expect, right? You get a phishing email that you click on something that says log into your Coinbase account. And, once you log into the Coinbase account, it intercepts that login and says, now send me a one-time passcode. And so to do that though, it has to be real time. So the bad guys on the back end basically have set up a bunch of computers that they'll make an audible ping when someone has actually logged in and has now queried for the SMS code. And so they intercept the SMS code, and that's how they're kind of bypassing the two-factor authentication to get into Coinbase, your Coinbase account. Now they have your username, your password, and the one-time passcode to get into your account. The thing that I thought was interesting here is it was all Italian Coinbase users. The phishing group had identified Italian Coinbase users, and while they didn't know how the original data for Coinbase user, the username, email, password and phone number was retrieved. Well, actually, they didn't even need password. They didn't even use username. They just needed email and phone number. So they don't know how that was. But when they went back and looked, they saw that over time, someone was trying to register accounts using Italian email names. And what they did was, if they tried to register an account with an email, and the system came back and said that account's already registered, they were like, okay, that one's a Coinbase account. And then they would just throw out the rest. right? Because they're not actually trying to register for an account. They're just trying to see
who has
if
account.
This user has a Coinbase account. So they had, the phishing gang, it says, had done hundreds of thousands of half-hearted account signups every day, and eventually found over 200,000 email addresses. It checked more than 200,000 email addresses, and kept on one day. So, anyways, that was the thing I thought was interesting here is they got some type of data dump of email and phone numbers so that they would know how to send someone the SMS for the one-time passcode or ask them for the one-time passcode. And then to validate that it was an actual Coinbase user, they just had scripts that tried registering accounts. And when an account would come back with a message that, didn't succeed, account already exists, then they would know, all right, that's the one we go send the phish to. And I think if I remember right, it was somewhere 6,000 users. They had got through about 6,000 users. So
that's what it says, 6,000. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the trying to register an account is maybe difficult because there's a general best practice of not returning too precise of an error message. When somebody tries to log in, not saying, hey, that password is incorrect, which tells you that there is an account, for example, versus that email.
That's not the password for this username. Here's the password for that username. Did you really mean this password?
Oh my gosh. What was that? That was something on just a couple weeks ago. It was an error message that, well, I don't think it was, that password is not for this user. That password is for this other user. Something like that. It was something so bad that
had to be a fake.
I had to assume so. Anyway, yeah, it looks like 6,000 users.
So there you go.
Stole cryptocurrency from 6,000 customers after using a vulnerability to bypass the company's SMS multi-factor authentication security feature.
Mm-hmm. Have you checked your Coinbase account lately to see how much your that $5 of Bitcoin I sent you, 4 years ago now, 5 years ago now? See what it's worth?
I have not.
Can you log into your account?
I will say that Coinbase sent me an email sometime in the last couple of months and basically said I had to do something. And I did whatever it was that I had to do. See if it's still on my phone here. I might have to cut this out. Sign in. Thankfully. Oh, I was going to say invalid email or password. I was going to say thank you, 1Password, but hold on. We go into, I just got an SMS for a 2-factor authentication. Why is it not presenting me with the dialog in which, there we go. I don't know. It was just being slow. My network is not being awesome. Hold on. It looks like you're signing into Coinbase from a computer or device we haven't seen before. Check your email. So they're doing a 3-factor authentication. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just,
they're not messing around anymore.
Yep. Here we go. New device confirmation. I just got a new phone yesterday, so I am still in the process of actually it's mainly these, all these 2-factor apps.
Right.
That's the problem, the problem bits. Hey, $107.07.
There you go. You're welcome.
I should buy you lunch. So for the part of that story is that was years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't know.
I think Bitcoin at the time was like was it $1,000 or $300? Yeah.
Well,
I don't remember if I bought. I think I spent $300 in Bit.
It must have been at $3,000 because because at $107 it's basically 21x, and at $64,000 the current value of Bitcoin, that would 64 divided by 21 would be just about 3,000 something. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe that's it.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm just doing a tiny little bit of math there because, to the best of my knowledge, that is still the exact same $5 that you gave me.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
5 years ago.
I think we were literally sitting at lunch, and I was like, "Yeah, I haven't done anything with cryptocurrency." And that was, I mean, cryptocurrency was already like oldish news at the time. I mean, I know you and others had been doing stuff for years. And I'm already curmudgeonly, and you're like, "Here, I'm going to send you $5, John." I'm like,
"You can see how it works, John. Here's $5."
Now I'm living in the future.
There you go. All right.
Anyway, okay.
Enough about cryptocurrency. What did you bring?
Okay. My, hold on. I got to look at my notes. Okay, I also had 2 topics, and the first one is also relatively small in the sense that this could probably have been follow-up. This was a crypto miner found hidden inside 3 NPM libraries. So it was just a quick little note on the record about an additional 3 files, or 3 NPM modules that were... there were a couple of things that I thought were interesting here. The first of which is that this was OS aware. So if you ran it on Windows, it would run a batch file and download a Windows executable to run. If you were on Linux, it would run a shell script and download a ELF miner. Not an ELF miner, an ELF binary. Anyway, sorry. And then so that was the first thing. So, okay, relatively interesting there. And then the other thing was that there was a comment in here that, the number of malicious packages found has, been increasing lately, but it's a kind of a monitoring and measuring thing because, companies like Snick and this, or is it Sneak? Sorry. I don't remember.
I'd say Sneak.
Sneak. Sorry. And this one was actually found by a company called Sonatype. Are monitoring new package uploads and scanning them for malicious code and, automatically flagging them, not necessarily always before they're downloaded, thousands or millions of times, but, the ecosystem is more aware and more secure than it was, let's say, a couple of years ago. So that was a cool thing there. The second topic, though, boy, maybe I'm just a follow-up man tonight. The second topic was about a huge voice fraud using deepfake audio. So a couple years ago, we talked about the first known incident of fraud using deepfake audio, which was... thank you for helping me find this earlier. A little bit of Google dorking. But in episode 91, so 112 episodes ago, 111 episodes ago, we talked about, in September of 2019, we talked about this, or the first one, which was for just a couple $100,000. But this is a transfer of $35 million. A
little bit more.
Little bit more. So this the first quote here was, in early 2020, a bank manager in the United Arab Emirates received a call from a man whose voice he recognized, a director at a company with whom he'd spoken before. The director had good news. His company was about to make an acquisition, so he needed the bank to authorize some transfers to the tune of $35 million. A lawyer named Martin Zellner had been hired to coordinate the procedures, and the bank manager could see in his inbox emails from the director and Zellner confirming what money needed to move where. Bank manager, believing everything appeared legitimate, began making the transfers. So, still a little amazing, surprising that something like that can be done just on the basis of a voice, but I can still imagine in many places, if you have a personal relationship with your quote-unquote banker, if you were to call me up, I would say, hey, Eric's talking to me.
With the proliferation of Zoom or video conferencing, I would think maybe you would want to do that level of thing, not just with audio only, but a visual. But then, of course, you're going to say, yeah, and then there's this thing called deepfake videos. So
there is.
Combine the two.
Yeah. So will be interesting. So it says what he didn't know was he'd been duped as part of an elaborate swindle, one in which fraudsters used deep voice technology to clone the director's speech, and it's only the second known case of fraudsters using voice shaping tools. So the first one was the CEO of a UK-based energy firm in an attempt to steal $240,000. So that was what we talked about a couple of years ago. So the quote from, who's this by? Jake Moore, former police officer with the Dorset Police Department in the UK, and a employee, cybersecurity expert at ESET. We're on the cusp of malicious actors shifting expertise and resources into using the latest technology to manipulate people who are innocently unaware of the realms of deep fake technology and even their existence. That's kind of I pulled that out because that's the point, right? Like, if you were to ask most people, sort of person on the street, can somebody fake your voice well enough to not be detectable by other people who know you well? They'd probably be like, what? Let alone video, the deepfake video. Although there has been a number of sort of high-profile commercials, and I have seen, where did I see? I don't forget where I saw it, but I saw ads for an app called Face Swap. That, there's apps on the App Store that let you do this. So, for the sort of geeks, it may, maybe a little bit out of the realm of, totally just pure research and at the edge of that and into sort of geek culture at the moment. But it's amazing what's possible. So. Anyway, so that was my other thing. Audio is easier to manipulate than video. So the fact that they've figured out ways to leverage that already is interesting. And there wasn't a lot of additional data in here. It sounded like, I didn't pull out this quote, but it sounded like the investigators in the UAE had asked for some help from U.S. because some amount of this money had been transferred to the U.S. But anyway, there wasn't a ton of other data in this, at least in the Forbes article that I'll link here. So, but anyway, that was
deepfake
that was my topic.
Coming too.
It's coming. Yep. All right. How about something fun?
I don't know if my something fun is actually fun or it's probably not actual fun. But it was interesting to me.
Okay.
So, you've heard of aerosols, and I remember as a kid, the ozone was, being depleted because everybody used spray paint. I remember that as a kid. This article actually talks about how airborne microplastics affect climate change. I had never thought about airborne microplastics. So, I'm sure you've heard and seen, and I think I've watched a Netflix documentary on the big swirling mass of plastic junk in the middle of the ocean.
The garbage patch.
The garbage patch in the ocean. This one is, because as plastic bottles and plastics, they don't they don't, is biodegrade the right word?
Yeah.
They just keep getting beat like sand. Rocks turn into sand eventually. Plastic stuff, as it gets beat around and knocked around, eventually turns in small enough that it can be picked up and pulled into the wind, picked up by the winds and blown around. And they have now found, scientists have found microplastics in remote mountain peaks and even in the Arctic. And this whole article talks about how, depending on the type of plastic, because different types of things in the atmosphere can either cause warming or cooling, right? If it absorbs the sunlight, then it warms things up. If it reflects the sunlight, then it cools things down. And plastics are not a single thing. They have different colors, different characteristics. And so this article makes the case that while individually by its lonesome, it does not have that much of an effect on climate, and it's much more localized, depending on, in cities, for example, with a lot more plastic garbage banging around. But there is enough data now that they say it's big enough to be quantified, and therefore we need to start talking about microplastics as a larger problem to think about in terms of the climate change argument. It's not just this separate problem anymore. It's now, there is enough of it around the world. So so that's not fun at all. I'm sorry.
No, but like plastic.
It was interesting. Yeah.
We need to get a handle on this. This is one of those things where the cheap solution allows companies and individuals to sort of live artificially cheaply, but without paying the true cost of something. So, we, in our area at least, they're no longer giving out plastic bags at grocery stores. The straws you have to ask for straws, or some places are doing paper straws.
Paper straws. Yeah.
Which I just have to say, they're paper. I'm not sure they're straws, but
they work. They have a limited working. They have a limited operating time.
Yeah, maybe they work better in water than they do in soda. Maybe it's just a little more caustic or something. I don't know, but yeah, you do not get a refill with the same paper straw. Generally, does not work that well. Yeah. Okay, that's not fun, but it is interesting. I'll give you that.
Okay, sorry.
I'll
work on that for next week. Something funner for next week.
Well, I'll make it up kind of. So I threw in a bonus, something fun here, because as I was putting down the notes, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I read this book, or I finished this book.
You're going to make me buy this book now, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. You can go get it from the Libby app. I don't know. It's the book that I listened to was Cuckoo Land, a novel, and I really enjoyed it. It was not my normal, I would say. I'll I don't know. I alternate between just, sort of brain, no thought, science fiction things, which I very much enjoy, and some books that I learn stuff in that I really enjoy that too. But this is more. I expected this to be more, I guess, classic novel, but there was a nice aspect of science fiction in it, and I'm not going to ruin it at all, but it does sort of, the story spans a tremendous amount of time, which is really cool. There's threads of it in the 14th or 15th century, as well as in the 22nd century. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. So there you go. Cloud Cuckoo Land. If you do, and it's kind of all about a book, which is also fun. A little meta there, maybe.
I'm 171st on the wait list.
Okay, there you go.
On Libby app.
There you go.
I went to try to it. Apparently, it's very popular.
Well, I saw it on a Sunday morning show. I saw a thing with the author, and evidently this is his second book, and his first book was very well received, won some prize, Pulitzer Prize in literature. I don't know.
That's what it says.
And but I didn't actually read that. Actually, my wife is waiting for that one on Libby, but anyway.
So she's in front of me in line.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I went to the Libby app.
But for his first book, not this one.
Oh, okay.
So, because I bought this one. Sorry, this is the thing. Like, I'm like, I love books. I like to read. I do not like to read bad books. I will just, I think I could say publicly without saying this is not a matter of dispute, but a difference between my wife and myself. Like, she likes to finish books. Like, she'll start a book and it'll be like, this is not a great book, but she'll still finish it. I will be like, this is a dumb book, and I will not finish it. and anyway, so if I'm going to read a book, or I'm like, $15 is, I feel, I'm happy that I have libraries and things like that, but I will absolutely pay $15 to be able to read something right now. Anyway, my real something fun, the thing that actually my father sent me this picture or this article is about hundreds of three-eyed dinosaur shrimp emerge after Arizona monsoon. So these are...
Are you sure it's not emerged from an episode of The Simpsons?
Right? It sure looks like it, doesn't it? You see the picture? They look kind of like a cross between a horseshoe crab and a scorpion? I don't know. But they're called triops, and their eggs it says their eggs can stay dormant for decades waiting for water. So, these little ancient crustaceans are, let's see, sorry, I'm looking at the article, not at the notes that I pulled out. So, when Arizona don't get a ton of water once in a while, big storm, water will collect in a pool, the eggs will hatch out. It says they achieve full growth in about a week. And so it says their eggs can lie dormant for decades in the desert until enough rainfall falls to create lakes that provide real estate and time for the hatchlings to mature and lay eggs for the next generation. So it says the appearances are so uncommon that when tourists started seeing them at the temporary rain-filled lake in this monument's courtyard, or it says ball court, which is a circular structure, the monument's staff didn't even know what they were. But so a couple other cool things about these. So Triops is Greek for three eyes. They are as old as way long before the dinosaurs, evolved during the Devonian period, 419 to 359 million years ago. And their appearance has changed very little since then, it says. So they can grow up to 1.5 inches long. So that's pretty long, actually. That's quite long. And then this is the other cool thing. It says that Triops, males and females, typically pair up to mate by sexual reproduction, but in times of scarcity, they have other means. They are also hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female sex organs, and parthenogenetic, meaning that females can produce offspring from unfertilized eggs. So they have all the means. Anyway, I thought that was cool.
I don't know how. how do you not evolve for 419 million years? I think everything evolves. How do you stay the same?
Well, I'm sure that these exact things are, minusculely different, but other parts of this have evolved, I'm sure. Like the other trees, other branches, things that stayed elsewhere. Or, maybe it's a local minima or a local maxima.
The family tree's got to be well, I was going to make a family tree joke, but I guess kind of fall flat. So.
With the various means of reproduction.
Yeah.
That word, I've seen it before. The sorry, I'm not looking at my notes again.
Parthenogenic. Where's you get the syllable on the right?
Yeah.
The emphasis on the right syllable.
So I guess bees must be that, because I see everything can come back to bees, because female workers can produce offspring, but they can only produce males. They can only produce drones. It takes a fertilized egg to make more females. So maybe that's different. I'll have to look that up. I do not know. I'm speaking
maybe in
outside my lane.
Family tree somewhere. There's some triops.
Oh, that was the other thing. There are 3 eyes. I forgot to say that. So they got 2 large compound eyes, like those of a butterfly or a bee, or a dragonfly or a bee, and a small, it's called an ocellus or simple eye between them.
What one's that used for?
Well, there was a comment in there that's used for detecting light. I don't know why you would need a light detection if you have 2 real eyes as well, but maybe it's a what do you call something that's hung around? I don't know.
Appendix?
Artifact. Obsolete. Anyway, they looked cool. That was the main thing. They look cool, and they can last for decades without water. So that was cool. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Well done.
Let us call it a show. And I will say,
it's a show.
I will talk to you again next week.
All right. See you,
Have a
John.
good night. Bye.
Bye.